Welcome, Loreseekers, to Chapter 6 breakdown of Book of Boba Fett. From the desert comes a stranger. Of course, there's spoilers in this. If you haven't watched, please go watch. Then come back and watch the video. We're going to do this a little differently. We're going to do this freeform, get away from the script, trying to get my skills up to just be a better content creator. So I'm going to be going through Disney Plus, and we're just going to break this down. So we start out with Cobb Vanth, and he's patrolling Mos Pelgo, aka Freetown now, and he sees 4 Pikes up to no good, and of course he does what a marshal does. He takes over the situation, ends up having to kill 3 of them, and then he lets 1 go to reveal a box which doesn't have credits in it. It actually has spice, and to his ethics and code, he just turns over the box and lets it become one with the desert, which is amazing. He's a morally good character. He really is there for his people. He could have took that spice and sold it for credits and brought great wealth to his community, but that's just not ethical. It's not. You don't want to sell a Star Wars version of drugs to bring money to your community. I think this was a great introduction to the show. It really brings in the entirety of all the lore building we have done with these TV shows. Disney has found a successful blueprint on how to create content with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all those hundreds and hundreds of comic book movies that we're getting in TV shows. They're not doing it with Star Wars, except backwards, right? We're starting out with TV shows, and it's going to branch into more movies, and then it's going to unite the gap between Return of the Jedi and the sequel trilogy. You have Cobb Vanth now, you have Mandalorian, you have Boba, you have Ahsoka, you have Luke, you have all these characters that are in between, and we're intertwined, and we're going to get just more. I mean, we're probably going to get Kira, we're probably going to get Han Solo. All these characters that we want to see in between this timeline, we're eventually going to get Thrawn, Ezra, Rebels, all of it. Rex, anybody that you want to see, eventually it's probably going to be introduced if they're alive and well in this time period. So moving on, we're back with Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, and he arrives to a planet which I've seen some people say it's Endor. I don't believe so. Endor's forestation is vastly different than the type we're seeing here. This is more like Earth-like forestation. Endor has huge tall trees. It's almost as close to Kashyyyk as you can get. This one, I believe, I don't even think it's the moon of Agent Kloss where he trains with Leia, Luke trains with Leia. I believe this is just the planet where he picks his Jedi temple, which we don't know the location to. In the comic books, it says that it's a secret Jedi location and only Jedi know. So I don't know if we're going to get this answer. Sometimes it's good to have planets that are just mysterious. Like, why do we want to know the name of this planet in the lore? I do, but it's a little cool to know that this is just a secret location where Jedi are going to be future trained. And the most hype I got in this show was actually when he lands and then we see R2-D2 as the greeter. I don't know why they got me so hype. I just love R2. I think he's an amazing droid. And when I saw him, it just makes me a kid again. And from there, Din goes to the temple that's being built, and they create a bench, and R2 just shuts down, and he's like, well, I guess I'm waiting here on this newly formed bench for Grogu. And he does so until Ahsoka appears. And Ahsoka's pretty much there, I feel like, to rest. It's kind of like a pit stop on her normal journey, and she's just there to talk to Luke and Grogu, maybe go over some things with Luke. I feel like they're very well connected at this point in their history. They know each other. They've already talked about Anakin, which I was very sad that happened off screen, but maybe we get that in some other form of content. Ahsoka does seem like she's doing her own thing. Luke knows that. She has her own journey, and Luke is allowing her to do that. He's not going to push the issue of being in the Jedi Order. And they're definitely allies. Like, if Luke needs help, Ahsoka's going to help him. So it's not like she's outcasting the Jedi Order. So back to Din and Ahsoka, they're walking through the forest, and they're talking about Grogu and how he's been conflicted with missing Din and then being a Jedi, and then Din goes, well, he needs to have this gift. I want to give him a gift. Like, I'm his in a way, I'm his adopted father, and he has right and titles to this armor as a foundling. And Ahsoka, of course, says, well, he's a Jedi now. Is he a foundling, or is he a Jedi Padawan? And I was waiting for Din to say, why can't he be both, right? And it never happened. He ends up leaving and gives the gift to Ahsoka to possibly give to Grogu. And then Din goes back and he's heading towards Boba Fett. He never sees Grogu. And it's a big sad scene, and it's a good build-up for a future scene. I don't know how they're going to take this, but we'll explain this at the end of the breakdown. So now we go to Luke and Grogu. And they start talking about Yoda, and they start doing training. And you can clearly see Grogu is going to be very powerful. He's still a child. He's acting like a child, but when he does use the Force, he's very talented. His skills, his abilities, his thought process. Luke just defended himself against the training remote. Grogu not only jumped around when he was tired, he's like, I'm just going to destroy it so we can end the training now and so I can take a nap. That's an off-the-wall, out-of-the-box type of thinking, and I feel like only Grogu or like a Yoda character could do that. And Luke was okay with it. He's just like, well, he just kind of like shrugs his shoulder. He's like, very good. Wow. Like, that, I didn't even think about that. Like, if you don't want to train, just destroy the remote. And obviously, as a kid, he still gets distracted. When he's meditating and he sees food, he's going to try to go for the food. And Luke is really struggling on this. He believes that Grogu's heart's not into it. He thinks that he's still thinking about Din, the Mandalorians, and this gift is now a conflict in Luke's hand. And he's debating about even giving it to him. And then he just kind of remembers about how, history's played out. And Ahsoka's there, and she pretty much says, well, you're just like your father. And that, unites them even more. Proves that we did get the Anakin talk off screen. Luke decides, you know what, I'm going to make Grogu decide. Like, what does he really want? And we'll get to that because of how the show was set up. And now we're going back to Tatooine, where we go to Boba's palace. The N1 starfighter just flies in there, and Din joins the meeting, where we have Chrysanthemum, the Vespa gang, Fennec Shand, and Boba Fett, and we're all ready to get this Pike War started. And then they reveal, we have the enforcers. We have the strength to do what we need to do on the missions, but we don't have ground soldiers. We don't have foot soldiers. We need men. And Din says, well, I can probably get us some. So he heads back to Freetown, and he has a talk with Cobb Vanth. And at first he's very reluctant. He's like, no, I'm not going to do this. We know it's not our war. And Din explains, well, it's your planet. And whether you want to be out of the war now, you're going to be in it later, but maybe without us because we lose this battle. And then now you're going to really be in a pickle. So Cobb Vanth doesn't really give him an answer. He has Din leave. Like I said, he's morally, ethically sound. So, of course, he's going to assemble the town meeting, and he's going to have a talk with everybody, and he's going to convince them to join Boba Fett and go against the Pikes. But before that happens, there's a stranger in the desert approaching Freetown. And at first glance, I don't know what it was. I just didn't even really process what was going on. And then he was like very, very concerned. He's like, yeah, get everybody inside. Complete Western style showdown. The windows start opening. Who's out there, and everybody's watching. And of course, it's Cad Bane. And him and Cobb Vanth stare off. And then there's a distraction. The little deputy comes out, the new one. He's all cocky and he's ready to go, which it does distract Cobb Vanth. I think he was 100% going to lose the duel either way. But it caused a distraction. And actually, it probably saved Cobb's life because I do believe Cobb is alive because he took a shoulder hit and the deputy took 3 to the chest. But going back to Cad Bane and the duel, it was very good cinematography. It shows, at the beginning of the episode how quick Cobb Vanth is with the blaster, but then it shows how amazing Cad Bane is with the blaster. And once again, it's just bringing more world building in. Now we're branched out to the Bad Batch and the Clone Wars, and it's just all coming together. And it's amazing to see. So, Cobb Vanth is alive to me because I was watching it with subtitles. They say go get a medical bag and is he breathing? They're giving all the signs that he is alive. And then if you pause it, he takes a shot in the shoulder, on the right shoulder, so far away from his heart. If he dies from that, I'd be very, very shocked. So he's going to have a talk with his people like, look, this dude shot me. Like, we got to go to war. So it's going to be pretty easy for him to convince his people now. So just when you think the show's over, it's not. We head to Mos Espa again. 2 Pikes walk into Garsa's cantina. They leave the Camp Todo, and they walk out, and it's a terrorist attack. They've blown up the cantina and killed, I don't know how many civilians. There was at least 50 in there, and they're all allies to Boba Fett, at least in name. So that is the beginning of the Boba Fett Pike War. It's pretty crazy. We lost Garsa. We lost a few of the Bith. I'm curious to see the reaction that Boba is going to have to this because he demands loyalty, and some of the ones that were loyal to him are now dead. And now we're going to head back to the unknown planet of the Jedi Order, and we have Luke and Grogu meditating inside the newly formed hut that these androids have finished. And in between Luke and Grogu is a red cloth and a box, and then Luke reveals the gift of Din Djarin to Grogu. and it's mithril. It's the Mandalorian Beskar armor. And I really like this because Dave Filoni is a very big Lord of the Rings fan, and so am I. And he used to have a picture on his Twitter with Gandalf and Ahsoka, and it says, I was assumed dead at one time, and now look at me, Gandalf the White. And she becomes Ahsoka the White with her robes. Out of left field, he opens the box and he reveals Yoda's lightsaber. And Grogu's looking at it like, ooh, I want that too. And he puts it to the right of himself, and he says, you have to pick. And now Grogu is looking left, he's looking right, he's looking left, he's looking right. Do I want the lightsaber? Or do I want the Beskar armor? And the show's over. That's the cliffhanger. And this is crazy to me because Grogu's decision will affect Star Wars for 5 to 10 years to come. If he picks the lightsaber, we're going to get Grogu's journey as a Jedi. If he picks the armor, we're going to get Grogu's life as a Mandalorian. And the shows will be affected greatly upon his choice. Do we get a Luke show with Grogu being trained, and of course we go to Ben Solo and that whole ordeal, or do we get Grogu with Din Djarin and his quest to become Mandalore and all those good stuff, and going and riding a mythosaur in the caves of Mandalore and all that? Is it going to be even crazier and he picks both? Like, what if he force pulls both the items and he's like, Luke, this is what I pick, and you ain't stopping me. I'm picking both. I'm the Tar Vizsla reincarnated, right? I have my Mandalorian heritage, and I have my saber with my Jedi heritage, and I'm gonna be both. And maybe that's Luke's way of seeing like attachment is the new way, right? Because I do believe we're gonna get a Mara Jade character eventually introduced, where Luke marries. So to do that, he has to get away from the sacred Jedi text and kind of make his own Jedi Order. So next week is going to be a pretty busy episode. I don't think we're going to get the actual war. I think they're going to say that for season 2, which I do believe we're going to get. But we are going to get some key players and build up to that war, and maybe another reveal such as Crimson Dawn and Kira. Some people were saying that Grogu's going to pick Din and Luke's going to bring him back to Tatooine, and they're going to have him meet at the Lars homestead, and that's going to create another thing. And there's a lot to cover next week. I'm assuming we're going to get most of the Pike War in season 2 with the Crimson Dawn Kira reveal, and that's just how it's going to go. And then we're going to get Cad Bane, maybe a duel, but I do believe the duel's even going to be in season 2 as well. As always, it's been a crazy 24 hours, even 2 weeks for Star Wars fans, at that matter. I'm excited for next week. Hope you are too. Please comment below what you think Grogu's going to pick. May the Force be with you always.